How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the GR Rideshare Adventure Podcast. Today's guest, I have Ben Crocker on, and he is a Uber driver along with me, and he's done it about the same length of time, actually a little longer. This is my second podcast, so the audio, I'm trying to work on it. It's a little echoey in my the room I record, so I'm sorry about that. And for some reason at the beginning of the podcast, there's some clicking going on. I have no idea what it is, but it only lasts 5 seconds, and then it cleans up, so can't figure it out. But yeah, enjoy the podcast. It's much longer than my first one. All right, have a good day. How many kids do you have?
2.
Yeah.
11 and 9.
Okay. Yeah, my son turned 21 the day after Christmas.
Okay.
And then my daughter's on the 20th.
Awesome.
So, how do you pronounce your last name?
Crocker.
Crocker.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's get started. My name's Jason. We have Ben Crocker here, and we're both Uber drivers.
Hey there.
And we're just going to talk about a few different things today, mostly questions we get from passengers. So why don't you introduce yourself and how long you've been driving and all that good stuff.
Yeah, my name is Ben Crocker. I am a driver with Uber only. However, I may consider Lyft. We'll see what happens.
Use my promo code.
Yeah, Jason might convince me. But yeah, I've been driving 2.5 years. Done a little over 2,100 rides. 4.85 rating. Don't know if that matters much anymore these days, but hey, I'll take it.
You know, I'm obsessed with my rating,
Really?
but it really doesn't. Well, I shouldn't say obsessed, but it went down 1 click last night.
Oh.
So when I sent you that screenshot, I was a
Yeah.
4.89. I was a 4.90 when I left. I don't know.
Must have been the surge.
Yeah, that usually does happen. But anyways, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I've heard too that your rating can sometimes impact how quickly you get a larger fare deposit.
Oh, you mean
true.
you mean if you go over $100
Yeah.
and they hold it?
Yep.
Some people wait 2 days. Some people, I just think they just don't have the staff to process it.
So I
Honestly.
had one a couple of weeks ago. I was at a 4.85 rating, and it was immediately available to cash it out.
Really?
So that was pretty awesome.
How big of a fare was it?
It was like 105. So.
And I remember you putting that on Facebook, the unicorn ride. Like, it was dead that night, right? But I
Yes.
think Jesper said you got like a... Is that out to Spring Lake?
It was an XL from the airport to between Holland and Grand Haven. So yeah, kind of Spring Lake area.
And it was that much?
It was.
Because there's no surge over there.
Not by the airport.
Oh, so it wasn't an airport ride, but it was
What?
near the airport ride.
No, it was an airport ride.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was an XL, one person. It was crazy.
That's weird.
So,
And you drive an SUV, so how many can you fit in your car?
legally, there's...
Oh, we don't need to get on that. Jesper did something bad last night.
No.
Yes, he did.
Really? Oh, man.
You have to harass him about it. I harassed him till 3 this morning about it, but he decided to take one
Oh.
and put 7 in, and
I have 6 seatbelts. So, there's that.
6 seatbelts. Okay, I can fit 7, so I have bench seats.
Okay.
What kind of car do you have?
It's a Chevy Traverse.
Traverse. Okay. So it has the
So-
2 captains and then the bench in the back?
Yep.
So do people pile in through the middle of that to get in the back?
They do, yeah.
I miss that with my van because I have 2 bench seats.
Oh, yeah.
So every time I get an XL, I have to move the seat forward just for convenience for
Yep.
them. But then trying to explain to them, I don't know why Honda did this, but on the top, you could flip it and it just lays flat. So you can
Okay.
like put, stuff in it. But the side one tips it forward and then slides it. And trying to explain to a drunk person,
It's impossible.
it's tough. It's frustrating because then some people just flip it and then just walk all over it. I'm just like,
What are you doing?
this is my car, man.
Seriously.
So,
But yeah, back to the rating.
yeah.
Because 3 or 4 weeks ago, I don't know, I was at a 4.83. And I had a
Oh.
big fare, and it didn't go through right away. So somebody in the Facebook group said you have to have a 4.85 or higher. I don't know if it's true, but it worked out in my favor this last time.
Yeah, I find that the rating with, I've never experienced it with Uber, but I swear Lyft gives you rides. Because I'll go to the airport. Now, I know everyone doesn't run Lyft, but I'll pull in the airport. There'll be 7 cars that I'll get a Lyft ride at the airport. Like, I'll literally pull in to get in the queue.
Interesting.
It's happened several times. Don't know. I mean, they're never going to, no one knows. They're never going to come out and say that. Yeah. But one thing that is nice about Lyft is you can get prime time at the airport.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah. And you don't have to be at Wendy's for Lyft. You can actually be in the cell phone lot if you want to.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, my rating, like I said, is a 4.89. I've done almost 2,000 rides for Uber and like 550 for Lyft.
Nice.
So, yeah, I fortunately signed up for Lyft before they came here. So then when they did come here, they actually only are taking 20% out of me, and everyone else is 25, because they're like, we didn't know that, but they're like, hey, we're just going to say thank you for believing in us and trying to get us here. So, and like, we didn't know that. Like, at orientation, they told us that. I'm like,
sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5%, but still. So that's why I like Lyft. So you're probably a 20%er on Uber.
I am.
Yeah, I'm a 28.
Yeah.
I missed that real close. So, so I make 8% more per ride on Lyft than I do on Uber.
That would definitely influence my decision.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the volume of rides is with Uber. So, but anyways, so, and you went to high school?
Yeah, I went to Zeeland High School.
Zeeland, and
class of 2002, the final class of just the Zeeland Chicks.
Okay, because it's Zeeland East and West now?
Yep. The Chicks, CHIX.
Yeah.
And the Ducks, DUX. So, there you go.
Interesting. And you, what do you do? You sell copiers?
I sell copy machines.
So you're a salesman?
I am, yep.
Okay. That's cool. I actually do lawn fertilization.
Okay.
I work for a small company in Byron Center called Weed and Feed. It's been in business for about 49 years.
Oh, wow.
Father and son. Only 6 of us. So I do work in the winter, not as much. I work in the office, but I'm salary, so that's nice.
Oh, yeah.
So I work a ton more in the summer.
I bet.
But no, this is good little supplemental income. So, and why is that? Why you do it? Just for fun money, or are you trying to pay off debt, or what?
Both. I think there's definitely, a lot of the money goes into fun money. Like, I just took my family to Chicago this past weekend. But then there's also that responsible adult side of me that's trying to pay off some debt too. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a spender. My wife's a saver, so yeah. So we're going to go over a couple of questions today that we get pretty regularly, and unfortunately it gets annoying at times as you've taken a ton of rides. And we've already gone over how long you've been a driver, and like I said, you're 2.5, I'm 2, or, well, 2 in a month or 2, I guess. And then a lot of people ask full or part-time. What is your response to them when they ask that?
I just tell them I drive when I want to, and I don't drive when I don't want to.
Okay. So I respond and say I would never do it full-time because, A, it would kill my car.
Oh, yeah.
B, I don't think it would give me the income that I would need for my family's budget.
I can imagine.
There's a couple guys I know, and they're in that Facebook group, but they drive full-time. They put 5,000 miles a month.
That's insane.
I mean, that's a lot of miles.
It's a good tax write-off, I guess, but...
Yeah, I mean, I grossed 18 last year, and I paid no taxes, and then it even helped my regular income and my wife's income to knock it down a little bit. Yeah. But obviously, you keep track of your miles. Do you know what miles you've driven this year so far?
Well, I just got the Traverse recently, so I have my Honda Civic in there too. Okay. So I've got it all logged.
All right.
On Mile IQ.
Mile IQ.
Now we got to go through at the end of the year and designate what ride was what. So.
You might think about trying Sherpa Share.
I've heard of that.
$60 a year, so it's. I mean, you hate to spend money when you're trying to try to hustle, but it does it automatically. It does get annoying because I mean, I'll go for a week without driving, and then every time you get done, you get a notification. You don't have to log it right then, but then all you do is swipe left or right.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, my LIQ has the same thing, but I never do it until.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh.
It's tracking for me. I'm a procrastinator by nature.
Oh boy.
So yeah, I sit down when I do my taxes, and I try to guess based on the time frame. Was that an Uber ride, a family ride, or a work ride?
See, I try to do that weekly, just so that.
Way to be proactive.
Yeah, I know. But it kind of works because it tells you it's a, hey, do it.
I turned the notifications off.
Did you? Yeah, I'm at 18,000 miles this year.
Okay.
So I don't know what I did last year, but and I also tell people, like, it's a good side hustle. You know what I mean? It really is. I mean, I shoot for like $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And that makes my car payment, and then anything extra on that. So,
yep.
And you just drive on the weekends?
Primarily. I've been known to sign on, if I've got a day or two off of work. I'll just sign on and see what it's like during the day.
Yeah.
It's usually pretty boring.
Yeah, I did a lot of day driving last winter, but I've just been working on stuff at home for this winter, so I haven't really done much. Although, was it last weekend? I didn't go out on Friday night. It went out on Saturday morning at like 7 a.m. till noon. I made like $150.
Really? On Saturday morning?
Prime time and Lyft. Like,
nice.
It was great. I was like, man, it's much better than going to bed at 3 in the morning.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah. I went to bed at like 3:30 and got up at 10 today. But the next thing I had on here, what was your best trip, best story, and then worst, if you can think of that. I've got a kind of a funny one. I guess the worst, have you had a puker?
I've had 2.
Wow.
2 pukers. That's it.
Jesper's had like 5.
Yeah.
What's his deal, man?
It's a good payout.
It is. Were they terrible or were they tolerable?
They were terrible.
Were they terrible?
Yep. Both were in my Honda Civic.
I was just going to ask which car was in.
It was the Honda Civic. And it was the cloth interior.
Nice.
So, and I'm fairly certain that the first person also had an accident, other end of her body, and puked at the same time.
Oh, no.
It was gross. Lots of bodily fluid.
Ugh. And you didn't have any covers on it or anything?
Oh, no. It was bad.
Did you decide to get the Traverse after that?
It definitely influenced the decision.
Oh, man. Yeah, I had one in the van, my wife's van.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of funny. I went out to Ada, and I pull up to this rich house, and I'm not kidding you. It was like ants. There was just these kids pouring out. I'm like, okay, maybe underage, and parents came home or whatever. But there were other Ubers there, and they just piled in and whatever, and one of the girls must have passed out. They live in East Grand Rapids, so we're driving, and I'm like, oh, your friend puked back there. And of course, I'm sure you experienced too, the one that orders the Uber always sits in the front seat up by you. Typically,
usually.
Yeah. I mean, not every time, but I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, it's going to cost you $150. And she's like, oh, she didn't puke. And then we went like 2 miles down the road, and she gets out, and she's just stumbling. Like, she couldn't even get to her door. And then I'm standing there, and none of her friends would help her. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, guys, go help her into the house. At least I know when I drive away. I'm like, that's why I kind of feel like they were underage and they hadn't drank much before. Yeah, that was...
How do you feel about underage riders?
I don't care. What about you?
I'm kind of the same. If they have access to the platform, how am I supposed to know who's 18 and who's not?
Well, obviously if a 10-year-old rolls up...
Yeah, that's one thing.
Not gonna do it.
Nope.
I'd be like, I'm sorry.
I'm not a babysitter.
I almost want to call the cops and like, where's your mom? Unless if it's like at some random place or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to card people. And so, do you know how they get access to the platform? Do you think they just put mom's credit card on there? And
they must, or maybe even their parents are putting it on there. I used the Uber app recently in Chicago. I don't know if it's a Chicago thing only, but there's this thing called Uber Family, and you can add your family members with your payment information. You can track them when they ride Uber. So I don't know if they're signing up through that or what the case might be.
Yeah, because I figured, knowing Uber, they don't care what credit card's on there. Yeah. And if they're like, oh, you got a credit card, Money. Don't care, you must be 18. But I know some people are fussy about that, but it doesn't bother me. I mean, the only rule I kind of stick to is the more too many passengers. Mm-hmm. And I've done it in the past, I'm not going to lie, but I do try to stick to my guns with that. Problem is, they're like, oh, so-and-so did it last time.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay, well, not me.
Ruined it.
So do you have a best story?
I got a couple. I remember one time I picked up a guy, probably at the Bob, and took him just up Monroe to his house. He lived right by the river. And we get there, and he's like, dude, you're the best. It's one of those drunk buddy situations. Like, thanks, man. He's like, seriously, you're just like the best. And he hands me a $50 bill and gets out of the car.
$50?
Yeah, $50 plus a minimum fare ride. I was like, I guess I am the best.
I am the best. That's pretty good.
That's always fun. You know, the drunk tippers. You know, you have to wonder the next morning he wakes up and looks in his wallet. What do I do with that 50?
You feel like he's probably not a baller, but he was planning on spoiling a girl or something, and then it didn't work out because it's like, you know what, I'm going to tip this guy. He got me home safe, and we're best friends.
Exactly.
I guess the weirdest story I had is it didn't even have to do with like a drunk thing or a weekend night. It was a weeknight. Picked this girl up over near your house, Plainfield. Night. Well, you're more near 5 Mile.
Plainfield and 4 Mile area.
4 Mile, okay. I was Plainfield 96. There's like a trailer park by that Meyer gas station over there.
Yep.
Picked her up there, and I click OK, and she's going to Muskegon. I'm like, oh, nice. And so she gets in the car, and we're chatting, and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't really look where we were going, and I asked her what she was doing. She's like, oh, I'm going to a strip club. I'm like, oh, okay. What are you doing there? She's like, oh, I'm interviewing for a job. I'm like, okay. So it ended up being in the Heights, so it's like it wasn't a nice area.
Yeah.
But so we're just talking, chit-chatting or whatever, and she says, yeah, he just wanted me to come in. He didn't tell me what I was going to talk about or do. And I said, well, what do you mean? And now she had been a stripper. I actually felt bad for her because she had been a stripper in Florida, so it wasn't her first rodeo.
Sure.
Wasn't super gorgeous either. I mean,
there's that.
Yeah. So, I actually felt bad for her. She had a new baby, and her boyfriend wasn't working. I'm like, oh, honey, go to McDonald's. You at least make $10 an hour. You know what I mean?
Keep your clothes on.
I know. And so we're driving out there, and like I said, she didn't know. I was like, well, he's probably gonna make you take your clothes off. She's like, you think? I'm like, yeah. I mean, you guys aren't gonna, do any math or anything like that. But I did feel bad for her. In fact, when we got there, I was like, hey, do you want me? I mean, shady town. I was like, hey, do you want me to stay? Just for a little bit. I mean, how long is it gonna be? She's like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, you're a grown adult. But I actually have that on my profile as one of my little fun story or whatever. Yeah. But
I think the most interesting rides, intriguing rides, are the ones with the Tinder app. Had a couple guys, different individuals. They requested an Uber from their hotel to wherever the girl on the Tinder
really
was. Yeah. And so they come down. They're like, yeah, I'm going to this apartment building. I was like, okay, do you know whereabouts? They're like, actually, no idea. Just let's go to the address and I'll see if I can get a hold of the person. So I'm thinking, is this some sort of a drug deal? Like, what am I getting myself into? Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
So we pull up and he's trying to get a hold of this person, and finally he's like, all right, man, I'll just be honest. This is actually a Tinder hookup. I'm picking her up, and we're going to go back to the hotel you just picked me up from. It's like, oh, all right. Sounds fun.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know one of my friends that drives picks up escorts all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why it's him, but a lot of over by the 28th Street, by the airport, those hotels over there. So, do you want a water or something?
I'm good.
Okay. I know talking sometimes gets your mouth a little dry or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the worst story. What I actually do now is when people ask me what my worst story is, I hand them one of our drop cards for our channel. But
Nice.
do you have a dash cam or not?
I did, and then we moved, and I took it out of my car for some reason. It's in my desk drawer at the moment, but
Okay. Yeah, we had just upgraded to some nicer ones that just the quality was insane compared. We had the Falcon 360s where it goes on the mirror.
yeah, that's the one I had.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
I mean, it's good for a base level, but
Yep.
if you're trying to get actual decent footage where you need to see, if something happened, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to show if someone attacked you or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
But,
It's almost like a toy, honestly.
yeah. It's the camera that we have is $200, which is only about $50 more than the Falcon, but the technology and the quality is triple or quadruple than the Falcon.
Okay.
I feel like the Falcon came out a while ago, and then they just kept the price the same, and then the new technology is like, oh, we can't sell it more than $200, and so. But real quick, I see you have in there that anyone puked in your car. Anyways, my worst story about my puker is also my most expensive ride right after that. So it was it Tim McGraw that came for 4
Yes.
days? No, Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks.
And his wife, and Trisha Yearwood.
Yep.
For the 4 days,
It
right?
was madness.
That was a lot of money. I
It
had a
was good
good
money.
weekend. That's
Oh, yeah.
the best week. Other than the first New Year's Eve I drove. That was the
Yeah.
best weekend I drove.
Are you doing New Year's Eve this year?
I am. I mean, I made like $350 last year, which isn't nothing to be. I mean, that's good money.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, that's
Oh, yeah.
good money.
Yeah.
But the year before, I made like $750.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Did you have?
I
Yeah.
did, yep.
And so
I did
yeah.
about half as much last year.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad you're experienced because I tell people that, like, everyone asks me lately if you've driven. You're like, oh, you driving New Year's Eve, you're gonna make so much money. I'm like, yeah, I'll make more than a
More.
Saturday night, but it
Yeah.
won't be like a couple years ago.
yeah. I mean, the surge was up to like 7 or 8 times. It was amazing a couple years ago.
Yeah. So my story actually has to do with the surge. I did get a 9.0. So it was so anyway, she goes and she pukes or whatever, and I pulled aside and I had a cleaning kit and I cleaned it as best I could, right? Took my pictures, was offline for a little bit,
Yep.
and then I just started driving back downtown, and I get an X. I had already gotten the money, so you do worry about that,
Oh, yeah.
how long you have to stay up. See, that's another reason to do both platforms, because
True.
I mean, not that it happens very often. You've only had it twice, and I've only had it once, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you on Lyft. So anyways, I go downtown, I get an XL at the Van Andel, the concert's out, and just a woman and her dog. I actually did feel bad, like, but I mean, they weren't even that drunk. I mean, so I feel like you accepted the higher charges, like maybe they didn't know, but it was a $300 fare
Oh, wow.
to like the county line
That's
out.
amazing.
I know, and I found out she was a veterinarian, so I mean, at least she's got a little bit of money. Out to like Duncan Lake, I don't know if you know where that is, out in that area. It's just right across the county line into either Barrie or Allegan or
I think
whatever.
it's Allegan, but yeah.
Yeah, so that was right after. So I got the 150 and then the 3 from that ride, and that's the highest I've ever seen is a 9.0.
That's nice.
So it got up pretty good. I had a 4.6.
Nice.
I had a 600% on Lyft.
Wow.
Mile and a half ride, $20.
Not bad.
No,
Take
easiest
that from
$20 I made the whole night.
Seriously.
So, what else we got?
Have you ever wanted to just lie to passengers when they ask you those questions?
I haven't. Tell me about that.
I don't know. I just think it'd be really fun.
Just
like,
to make up a story.
like pick a movie character and role play with them. So,
Good idea.
so what do you do for a living? Actually, I'm an axe murderer.
Well, you can't go that deep because they won't believe you because of the internet.
Yeah.
You almost have to be like, just like a sob story about I used to be an actor and I did this or something about porn, something like that. Yeah. A lot of people ask. Well, when they ask how long have you been driving, I always say in general or tonight.
That's a good one.
Because it's true. I mean,
yeah, I've been driving since I was 16.
and I would say it's like 50-50. Some people say, yeah, tonight, or, yeah, I usually give them the time frame. So, is there anything else people ask you to?
Like if after I tell them what I do for a living, they're like, "Oh, what'd you do before sales?" It's like people just have this assumption that you must have done something before you got into sales.
Right. Have you been in sales your whole life?
I haven't. No.
Oh no, you were in ministry.
I was, yeah.
Didn't want to do that anymore, or just wasn't paying the bills?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, I know that it can be a little low.
It's a low-paying, high-demand type of job.
Yeah.
I mean, the rewards certainly are there. They're not always monetarily.
Right.
But there's definitely rewards. But,
did you go to school for that?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I went to Cornerstone.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I still volunteer with my church. You know, I'm still committed and passionate about that work. It's just not something that pays the bills, really.
Does your wife work?
She does, yeah.
Full time?
Yep, she's a caseworker with Bethany Christian Services.
All right.
So, yeah.
Which church you guys go to?
We go to Berkeley Hills, northeast side of Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Ball and Leonard. So.
Ball and Leonard. Okay. Yeah, I go to, or we've been going to for many years, Evergreen Ministries out in Hudsonville.
Okay.
And then we go to Alive now, which is in Jenison.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we just weren't getting much. I mean, I stayed more at Evergreen just because I had some commitments to doing, like, words and sound, like, in the production booth.
Did you do drums, too?
I didn't. I'm learning. I'm actually 41 taking lessons. I had lessons last night for an hour, so
very cool.
I'm learning. I learned Sweet Child of Mine because I kind of grew up 80s, 90s, so Sweet Child of Mine. I didn't master it, but it was probably the wrong song to start out with. It's very fast, and it doesn't sound complicated, but it is. And then I'm doing Back in Black right now.
Nice.
So my instructor, she's like 23 and just a badass on the drums. Yeah. So she likes to do a song, and then we work through book and exercises because she's like, I can't do this book all the time. I'll go insane. I'm like, I can't do it either. You know. Yeah. There is a place for it, but come on, it's boring. Did you ever have music while you were growing up? Because I was in band my whole life.
Well, I grew up in a pretty conservative home, so any exposure to music that we had was Christian music.
Really?
Which back in the 90s was basically taking, you know, Green Day, Red Hot Chili Peppers, taking their music but putting Jesus words with it.
Really?
Cheesy ripoffs. And then as I get older and I'm listening to, like, the 90s station on XM radio, it's like, hey, I've heard this song. Oh, actually, I heard somebody copy this song and change the words.
Interesting.
So that's always fun.
So what was, I'm trying to think, like, I grew up Christian home, too, pretty, not super conservative, like, I like Motley Crue, and my mom thought it was devil worship, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
But I'm trying to think what Christian music was back there.
Well, you take Hootie and the Blowfish, and you put it up against Third Day. Mac Powell's voice is very...
So Third Day is a Christian group?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
What's the rap one? DC Talk?
Yes.
That's who it was in the 90s.
Down with the DC Talk.
Yes. That's funny.
Good stuff.
One of the bands, which is interesting, that I love now is 1,000 Foot Crutch.
Oh, yeah. It's a good band.
I didn't even know they were a Christian band. I mean, they wail. They play on my, I have satellite too on that Octane channel, which is kind of a hard rock channel.
Yeah.
I really like this band, so I started looking into them. I'm like, oh,
look at that.
Yeah. What do you feel about bands like that? I mean,
I think it's awesome. If a band that, you know, starts out with this general appeal sound, and then you listen closer to the lyrics, and you're like, whoa, this is actually a Christian band. I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I actually like the music part of music. Like, my mom was worried about, see, we're getting off topic. My mom, I like to talk, so my mom was worried about the lyrics, but my mom, I don't even know what they're saying. I'm just rocking out, you know what I mean? And that's kind of with 1,000 Foot Crutch. I'm like, I don't really listen to the lyrics, but, and didn't Evanescence used to be Christian? And then, that's true, right?
Well, See, they've actually come out and said we've never been a Christian.
Really? I never really researched it, but that's
Yeah.
always been the myth or the rumor.
Yeah, there was definitely a rumor about that. So
I do like Evanescence too, but and we talked about you have 2 kids.
yep.
What's their names?
Miracle is our daughter.
Miracle?
She's 9.
Okay.
Yeah. We didn't choose her name. We actually adopted her.
Okay, through Bethany.
No. Well, yes and no. Officially, no.
Okay.
But my wife did meet her because of her work. So
Cool.
Yeah, we had finalized the adoption in 2017.
Okay.
Earlier this year, and she's been with us for the entire year, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, so this is new.
Brand new. Yeah.
Whoa, and she's 9?
She's 9, so
Okay.
she was 8 when she came to us.
All right.
So, and then our son Stefan is 11.
Okay.
So
Wow. Yeah, that's a big change.
it was. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
How's everything working with it?
You know, overall,
Some struggles.
it's going really well. There's
Yeah.
definitely some daily struggles that we're working through. But what do you expect when you have one child and then you just add another, but
Right.
they're not a baby, they're 8 years
Yeah.
old. So,
Yeah. I have a, like I said, 21-year-old. His name is Nolte, like Nick Nolte.
nice.
I didn't name him. My ex-wife did. And then I have Avery, who's 10, and Sullivan, who is 7. And Sully is autistic.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's been a challenge. Good kid. High functioning. He struggles in academics and speech. But
Okay.
anyways, we're getting way off topic. But
Hey, that's all right. It's 2 Uber drivers.
that's right. And we haven't really met. Well, we haven't met. This was the
True.
first time.
Yeah.
So,
Might have honked at you or something on the road.
yeah, I don't know. I
I've been
see
known to do
Jason.
that.
Yeah, I honk. There's a guy named, we call him Asian Phil. Well, he is Asian, but we call him Asian Phil. But I see him all the time because I know his car, and I honk at him all the time. He's never paying attention.
Oh,
They
man.
usually scare him. But I do see Jason jipping
Oh, yeah.
that Buick with those dark tinted windows.
Really dark.
Mine are tinted too. I actually have the fronts tinted. Is his front tinted too, or not?
It's front and back.
His are really dark
It's
though.
dark.
I don't
He's
know.
been pulled over for those.
I'm sure he has. Mine's enough where it just kind of matches the back. I think
Okay.
whoever owned it before is like, and it's just enough where you can't really see what's going on there, but you can still see some movement and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I've never gotten stopped. But
Yeah, if I ever see Jason out driving and I've got passengers in my car, I'll be like, oh, hey, that's my boss.
oh, well, he is.
Yeah. And then they're like, do you work for the mafia? Like, what kind of boss
That's
is
fun.
driving that car?
That's funny. That's
So.
interesting. So what time you plan on going out New Year's Eve?
Probably not until 11. It's dead until 11.
Is
It's
it?
like, that's what I found.
You know, I've only gone. See, I was gonna go out tonight, and then I was like, I don't feel like it. I just started playing hockey, and I was
Okay.
tired. And then we went to a movie with the kids, and I was like, I'm gonna go out at 5 tomorrow, and I don't know, maybe I won't. But I've only the New Year's that I did go out, I went out at 11 both times.
Yeah. I went out earlier, I think maybe around 7:30 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
It was just dead. So I went home and hung out with my family for a little
Really?
bit. And then went back out around 11.
Did you hang out like in the suburbs, or did you
Yeah.
go down to?
I was in the
was-
suburbs.
See, one problem with, and that does make sense because most people are having like house parties.
Yep.
And so it's busiest, I mean, probably after midnight, not just bar close, because I typically can work to almost 6 or 7 in the morning. It's surging that whole time.
It's crazy.
So maybe I won't go out early, but although my wife and kids are bailing, they're going to a friend's house. So
Nice.
I said we need to get all our families that are drivers
Yeah.
and have our New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, if you don't have to go to work the next day. That's the only catch. I'm kind of spoiled, and I get these full 2 weeks off from work,
Nice.
so I'll be off next week with the kids. My wife will be back to work. So
What does she do?
she is the neonatal nurse educator for DeVos Children's Hospital.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, she's been it's NICU nurse for
Yeah.
11 years, and this position opened up, and so now she works, 8 to 5, and gets holidays and weekends off, and
Awesome.
I mean, yeah, it was a big adjustment to have her home every night, because usually she would work 3 12s in a row, and sometimes weekends, so I had a lot of just me time. You know, the
Yeah.
kids would go to bed and stuff, but it's been a good change. I actually love driving. Like, it's fun to me. Like,
Absolutely.
it's extra money, and I don't want to, you know, poo-poo anyone that does it full time,
Yep,
because
yep.
if that's your thing, that's your thing.
That's it.
But I enjoy going out. Like, you know, Jesper and Nick, and I'm like, all right, we're going to hang out and
Yeah.
chat back and forth, and just, it's a good time. And then she gets alone time to watch, you know, whatever she wants. And the last 2 weeks, she's been watching the Hallmark Christmas Channel.
Oh,
or whatever.
yes. Nice.
So, but I think that's it. I think we covered everything. Anything else?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
All right. Well, have you seen our YouTube channel?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
It's been fun watching some of those
So-
videos.
Just gonna throw that out there real quick. How do you feel about it?
I think it's really great. I'm hoping for a way to bridge the gap between passengers and drivers somehow. Obviously, we have our Facebook group for drivers,
Yeah.
but I think it'd be cool if, you know, some of the passengers were, you know, clued into some of these channels, things like that.
We did a while back start a page, Uber Q&A page.
Okay.
I don't know if it's still up. Our buddy Alex kind of started. He was a driver for a while. He actually has been in the hospital for the last
Yeah, I
3
heard
months.
that.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever met Alex, but
I think way back when.
okay. But he started it, and we were doing it for a while, but it was tough to get people in it. Like, I mean, how do you find people other than inviting them all to the
Yeah.
page? But just for that reason, like,
Yep.
you know, maybe we'll talk about in a future podcast, like, where do you stand at the Bob?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's been an issue, that's a topic lately, and so that's kind of what it was. But I do have, like, some of my friends that feel like it's a violation of privacy. I mean, technically by the law, it's fine.
Yeah.
And even my wife will go around and around a little bit about
Really?
it. And she worries as being a business professional, like if she was off tying what on. And I was like, you know, 99% of it gets recorded over.
Yeah.
It's usually the people that are out of control and frankly really disrespectful.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I just tell her, and I told my buddies, like, you can go out and tie one on, but it doesn't mean you have to. I mean, does that give you the right to be disrespectful to someone else?
Yeah.
I mean, if clearly if you drink too much and you're disrespectful, then you probably shouldn't be drinking that much.
Seriously.
So that's how I feel, and that maybe
Yeah.
that's a way to justify it, but yeah, I don't know. So
Good times.
yeah, we did hit 200 subscribers. Woo, 200!
Yeah.
But we're not. It's more of a creative thing. Like, you're obviously not going to make a ton of money, and YouTube has changed their way they make. It used to be you could, like, make a ton of money,
That's what I heard.
but not anymore. So we do have a couple of business ideas. Jesper and I and Nick. I'm not going to talk about them now, but
Top secret.
it is top secret. We actually bought the web domain to it. So,
Oh.
but yeah, it should. We'll see. We'll see. But all right. Well, I appreciate you coming,
Yeah.
and hopefully you'll have good luck tonight and
Yeah.
on New Year's Eve. So, all right.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. Ben is a great guy. It was really nice to meet him. We were excited about New Year's Eve, and I just appreciate everyone listening. You can email us at grrideshareadventures@gmail.com. We're on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Facebook and Twitter is GR Rideshare, and then our YouTube channel is GR Rideshare Adventures. Take a look. We got quite a few videos up there, some fun stuff, some crazy stuff, but we appreciate you listening and watching, and have a good day.